everybody, and welcome to the first ever Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch Schedule Special. It is Wednesday night, maybe a little bit after midnight, because I said this was going to come up at midnight, but I might still be recording this by the time this gets out there. But nevertheless, the schedule has been officially released, and you know what that means. It's time to get going. We're going to take a quick look at all 18 weeks of the NFL schedule. We'll talk briefly about some of the more notable games in each week, and then at the end of the video, we're going to reveal the games that I will be doing a live rewatch of. Is on Sunday nights this fall, and like I said, it's going to be between 6 to 8 games. As I'm talking to you right now, I don't know exactly which games I'm going to be covering. I've got a good idea of some of the games I might be covering, but nevertheless, we're going to go ahead and look at the schedule, and I'll look and see what games are there, see like, oh, I might want to cover that, I might want to cover that, but strap yourself in, we have a lot to get to, so without further ado, on to week 1. And by the way, you might hear like some forwards and some dinging noises, all that. I've got my dinner right here, so I'm doing this while I'm having my dinner, so yeah, if I start eating during this whole thing, that's exactly what the reason is, but anyway, starting off with week 1, we have ourselves starting on Thursday, September the 4th, the defending champions, the Philadelphia Eagles, hosting the Dallas Cowboys on NBC. That's a game we kind of already figured was going to happen, as we were going to figure out that the next game in Sao Paulo, Mexico, I believe. Sao Paulo, or is it Mexico or Brazil? It's Brazil. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. We knew the Chargers were going to host, but most people didn't know if it was going to be the Chiefs. There was a lot of speculation that it was going to be them. So yeah, no surprise there. It's going to be on Friday, September the 5th. That's going to be a YouTube exclusive game, which will be available free to stream on there. But let's get to the Sunday games. And we have a slate of Sunday games here, including a couple of divisional matchups to start it off here. We got the Buccaneers and the Falcons. That's on Fox. The Bengals and Browns is also on Fox. The Dolphins and Colts on CBS. Panthers at Jaguars on Fox. These are all 1 p.m. games, so they'll run to these at first. Raiders at the Patriots on CBS. The Cardinals at the Saints also on CBS. The Steelers at the Jets on CBS. So they are thinking. So the schedule makers are making it pretty clear that they believe Aaron Rodgers will indeed be a Steeler. Hopefully they're right on that, but interesting how they're starting it. If that's the case, it's going to start off with Aaron Rodgers going back to New York to play against his former team. And the last 1 o'clock game we have here are the Giants and the Commanders. That's on Fox. There's 2 4 or 5 matchups. The Titans at the Broncos, that's on Fox, and the 49ers at the Seahawks, that's also on Fox. CBS says the 2 4-25 games, and that is the Detroit Lions at the Green Bay Packers, and the Texans at the Rams. So we have some pretty big games in the early window on Sunday and the late window on Sunday. And then, of course, Sunday Night Football will have the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills, a rematch of last year's AFC divisional matchup, in which the Bills beat the Ravens pretty convincingly. And then Monday Night Football, the season premiere, will see J.J. McCarthy versus Caleb Williams, and the Minnesota Vikings take on the Chicago Bears at Soldier Field in Chicago. That'll be an 8:15 game on ESPN and ABC. So that is the Week 1 matchups there. Let's go ahead and move on to Week number 2. In Week number 2, the Amazon Thursday Night Football slate begins with a matchup between the Washington Commanders at the Green Bay Packers. That'll be an 8:15 game, of course, on Prime Video. And then on Sunday, we have the Browns and the Ravens at 1 o'clock on CBS. The Jaguars at the Bengals, also a CBS game. Giants at the Cowboys on Fox. The Bears at the Lions on Fox. The Patriots at the Dolphins on CBS. The 49ers at the Saints on Fox. Bills and Jets on CBS. Seattle at Pittsburgh on Fox. That'll be a DK Metcalf revenge game. And the Los Angeles Rams at the Tennessee Titans. That'll be a 1 o'clock game on CBS. And 2 more games in the early window on CBS, starting off with the Panthers at the Cardinals, and then the Broncos at the Colts. And then, of course, the big matchup that weekend will be the Super Bowl rematch between the Philadelphia Eagles at the Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead. That's a 4:25 game on Fox. And the Sunday Night Football matchup that day will be the Atlanta Falcons at the Minnesota Vikings. So it'll be Michael Penix Jr. versus J.J. McCarthy in prime time on NBC. And J.J. McCarthy's home opener, too, since the Monday night game will be in Chicago. Speaking of Monday night, there will be a doubleheader that will be available on ESPN and ABC starting at 7 with the Buccaneers at the Texans. And then ESPN will have the Chargers at the Raiders. So that game will be available on ESPN only. So that is week 2. On to week number 3. Next up in week 3, we have the Bills and the Dolphins meeting once again, but this time it'll be up in Orchard Park, New York. You think it East Rutherford, but no, that's the New York teams. But Orchard Park, New York, that'll be the Dolphins at the Bills in Buffalo. That'll be on Amazon Prime on September 18th, Thursday. The 1 o'clock games on Sunday the 21st. We have the Falcons at the Panthers on Fox, the Packers at the Browns on Fox, the Texans at the Jaguars on CBS, the Bengals at the Vikings on CBS, the Steelers at the Patriots on CBS, the Rams at the Eagles on Fox, the Jets at the Buccaneers also on Fox, the Colts at the Titans on CBS, the Raiders and the Commanders on Fox, and those are all the 1 o'clock games. We have 4 or 5 games on CBS, including the Broncos at the Chargers and the Saints at the Seahawks. And then at 4:25, we have the Cowboys at the Bears on Fox, and the Cardinals and the 49ers, that's on Fox as well. And then on the Sunday Night Football matchup, we have the Kansas City Chiefs at the New York Giants. Interesting matchup there for the primetime game on NBC. I guess they really do think the Giants are going to be something this year with Russell Wilson and Jackson Dart, but who knows? I mean, then again, it's probably too early to flex that game out, so it'll be interesting to see the Chiefs at the Giants there. I wonder why they put that there on Sunday night, but I would have put the Steelers and Patriots there, to be quite honest, but then again, I'm not running the schedule here. And then on Monday Night Football, we have the Detroit Lions at the Baltimore Ravens. That'll be an 8:15 game on ESPN and ABC. So that is week 3. On to week number 4. Week 4 starts off with a primetime matchup on Prime Video with the Seahawks at the Cardinals in Arizona. That's the 25th of September. And then we get the first of 7 games overseas, starting off with the big Steelers game in Dublin, Ireland, where they will take on the Minnesota Vikings. That's a 9:30 game exclusively on the NFL Network. Following that, we have the Commanders at the Falcons on CBS, the Saints at the Bills also on CBS, the Bills at the Lions on Fox, the Titans at the Texans on CBS, the Panthers at the Patriots on Fox, the Chargers at the Giants on CBS, the Eagles at the Buccaneers on Fox. Those are all the 1 o'clock games. A doubleheader on Fox starting at 4:05, the Colts at the Rams, and the Jaguars at the 49ers. And then in the 4:25 window, we got 2 more big matchups, at least one big matchup here. The Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs on CBS at 4:25. And then the Chicago Bears at the Las Vegas Raiders. That's also a CBS game. And then the Sunday Night Football matchup this week will be the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. That's the Sunday Night Football matchup from Dallas. And then Monday, we have another doubleheader with 2 games on at different times it's airing at the same time, pretty much. Starting off with the Jets at the Dolphins. That'll be a 7:15 game on ESPN. And then ABC will have the Cincinnati Bengals at the Denver Broncos. That's a doubleheader on September the 29th. So that's the month of September. Let's go ahead and move on to week 5 and the beginning of October. Starting off the month of October, we begin with a NFC West matchup between the San Francisco 49ers at the Los Angeles Rams. That will be a Thursday night game on October the 2nd on Prime Video. Then we head back overseas when the Minnesota Vikings and back-to-back games will go to, this will be a London game if I'm not mistaken, where they will face the Cleveland Browns at 9:30 on the NFL Network. And the 1 o'clock games go like this. We've got an AFC divisional matchup from a couple years ago, the Texans at the Ravens. That's a CBS game. The Dolphins at the Panthers on Fox. The Raiders at the Colts on Fox. The Giants at the Saints on CBS. The Cowboys at the Jets. That's on Fox as well. The Broncos at the Eagles on CBS. Those are all the 1 o'clock games. And we have, once again, 2 games in the 4 or 5 window on CBS. Tennessee at Arizona, and then the Buccaneers at the Seahawks. And then Fox has the Lions at the Bengals and the Commanders at the Chargers. And the Monday night matchup is the New England Patriots, and the Sunday night matchup, the Sunday night matchup is the New England Patriots at the Buffalo Bills. That'll be an 8:20 game on NBC, of course. And then the Monday, October 6th game on Monday Night Football will be the Kansas City Chiefs at the Jacksonville Jaguars. Of course, they were in a playoff game a couple years ago, and now they're going to be hosting the Chiefs in Jacksonville for the first Monday Night Football game down there in a long time. I can't remember the last time they were down there. But anyway, that is week 5, so on to week 6. Week 6 kicks off with an NFC East showdown between the Philadelphia Eagles at the New York Giants. That's, of course, on October the 9th. Another game overseas in London. This time it'll be the Denver Broncos versus the New York Jets. Bo Nix going up against Justin Fields in that one. That's a 9:30 game. 1 o'clock games are as follows. All 4 are Fox games. Los Angeles Rams at the Baltimore Ravens, the Dallas Cowboys at the Carolina Panthers, the Arizona Cardinals at the Indianapolis Colts, and the Seattle Seahawks at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The CBS games go as follows. The Chargers at the Dolphins, the Browns at the Steelers, the 49ers at the Buccaneers. Only one game in the 4:05 window, that's on Fox, the Titans at the Raiders, and then the 4:25 game is the Cincinnati Bengal at the Green Bay Packers. That's on CBS. Titans and Raiders is on Fox, by the way. I don't know if I said that before. And the Patriots at the Saints, that's on CBS. Then at 8:20, the Sunday Night Football matchup will be the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs, a rematch of last 2 seasons ago. They had the season opener for the 2023 season, where the Lions beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead shortly after they won the Super Bowl. So that'll be a rematch of that game on Sunday, October the 12th at 8:20 on NBC. And then on Monday the 13th, we've got a doubleheader game. Another one of those games where one game will start early at 7 and the other game will start an hour afterwards. We have at 7:15 the Buffalo Bills at the Atlanta Falcons. And then at 8:15, we have a rematch of the Hail Murray game. The Hail Murray. What is it, the Hail Mary or the Hail Murray? Hail Maryland. Hail Murray was, of course, the Bills at the Cardinals when Kyler Murray threw that touchdown pass to DeAndre Hopkins in 2020. Now, this is the Hail Maryland, of course, where a rematch of that game where Jaden Daniels threw the game-winning touchdown in the final seconds of that game. That'll be the Monday Night Football matchup at 8:15 on ABC. Chicago at Washington. Hopefully without the same ending as that game. But hey, you never know. We don't know how good the Chicago Bears are going to be next season. But they got to be better without Matt Nagy. And I'm pretty sure if you go to Detroit right now, he's still waiting to call that timeout from the Thanksgiving game. I mean, he just doesn't get it. But anyway, that's week 6. On to week number 7. At the midway point of October, week 7 begins with an AFC North showdown between the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. First time the Bengals have hosted the Steelers in prime time. I think the last time they did was the AFC wildcard game back in 2015. So that'll be the game that kicks off week 7 on Thursday, October the 16th on Prime Video. London matchup starts the day off on Sunday with the Los Angeles Rams and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maurice Jones-Drew picks for the Super Bowl. Clearly not because he played for the Jaguars and is the radio man for the Rams. I mean, seriously, I was watching the schedule release special, and Maurice Jones-Drew, man, is getting on my nerves. I mean, I didn't like him when he was doing the Game Day Finals thing where he's just, like, over-exaggerating over everything, but this was just going way too far. He went off by saying, one, the Rams and Jaguars would be the Super Bowl pick, and then the Rams would 15 of 17 games in the regular season. It's just like, dude, get the fuck out of here with that. It's just like he got really annoying. He's worse than James Jones. James Jones used to do that all the time when he worked at NFL Network for the Packers and the Raiders, and he's made it even worse because he's more all over the place than James Jones was. But anyway, that's the game that'll kick it off in London on Sunday, October the 19th at 9:30. That's an NFL Network game, of course. And the 1 o'clock games go as follow. We've got 6 in this window. Saints at the Bears on Fox. Dolphins at the Browns on CBS. Raiders at the Chiefs on CBS. Eagles at the Vikings on Fox. Panthers at the Jets also on Fox. And the Patriots at the Titans on CBS. I'm surprised that one, the Mike Vrabel Bowl, isn't a primetime game. I'm actually really surprised that that's not a primetime game. But anyway, once again, 4 games in the 4:05 and 4:25 window. Starts off with the CBS doubleheader. The Giants at the Broncos, that'll be on CBS at 4:05. The Colts at the Chargers. And then 4:25, we've got the Packers at the Cardinals, and then the Commanders at the Cowboys. And Sunday Night Football that night will feature Michael Penix Jr. going up, and the Falcons going up against Brock Purdy and the San Francisco 49ers. And then we have on October the 20th, we have another doubleheader for you, starting off at 7 p.m. with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Detroit Lions. That'll be on ESPN and ABC. Followed by the Texans at the Seahawks, which should be a really good game, but it's only going to be available on ESPN Plus. So if you have ESPN Plus, or who knows, maybe it'll be one of those games that'll be available on Disney Plus and also Hulu as well. There's a possibility you can see that game there, but that'll be the ESPN Plus exclusive game on Monday, October the 20th. So that is the games for Week 7. On to Week 8. Week 8 kicks off with a interconference matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Chargers. That'll be on Amazon Prime Video at 8:15. Sunday, October the 26th, there are seven games in the 1 o'clock window, and they are as follows. Dolphins at the Falcons on CBS. Bears at the Ravens, also on CBS. The Bills at the Panthers on Fox. The Jets at the Bengals on CBS. The 49ers at the Texans on Fox. The Browns at the Patriots, also on Fox. The Giants at the Eagles, that's also on Fox. And Fox also has one game in the 4:05 window. The Buccaneers at the Saints, so an NFC South matchup. Excuse me. CBS has the 2 games in the doubleheader window at 4:25. The Dallas Cowboys at the Denver Broncos. Broncos have usually been pretty good at beating the Cowboys as of late. I don't expect that to change anytime soon. And then the Titans at the Colts will be a 4:25 matchup on CBS. And then we have the Aaron Rodgers Bowl Part 2, supposedly, because Sunday Night Football on NBC at 8:20 will be the Green Bay Packers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then Monday, October the 27th, the Monday Night Football matchup will be the Washington Commanders at the Kansas City Chiefs. That'll be an 8:15 game on ESPN and ABC as we wrap up October as we move on to November. Correction, there is one more October game, and that's the Thursday night game between the Baltimore Ravens and the Miami Dolphins. That'll be the Prime Video game. And then we'll jump into November and start it off with let's see. We got 8 games in the 1 o'clock window, starting off with the Bears and the Bengals on CBS, the Vikings at the Lions on Fox, the Panthers at the Packers on Fox, Broncos at the Texans on Fox, Falcons at the Patriots on CBS, the 49ers and the Giants, that's on CBS, and the Colts at the Steelers, that'll be on CBS. Colts have had the Steelers' number over the last couple of years. I mean, it hasn't been Anthony Richardson that's beaten them. It's been Joe Flacco and Gardner Minshew. So that basically means that Anthony Richardson's probably getting injured, and Daniel Jones probably ends up being the quarterback for that game and then somehow beats the Steelers. I mean, don't be surprised if that happens. But there is one more game in the 1 o'clock window. The Chargers at the Titans. That's a CBS game. Fox has the doubleheader in the 4:05 window with the Saints at the Rams. And following that, the Jaguars at the Raiders. And then, of course, the big matchup that really I'm shocked is not the big, Sunday Night Football showdown. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills at 4:25 on CBS. Man, CBS, like, as soon as they find out what matchups are going where, they must go to the NFL with, like, a gun in their gun pointing at the commissioner, just like, you better give us the fucking Chiefs and Bills game, because they've been holding on to that game for like so many years, man. It's just like they don't even give it any of the other networks a chance to go grab it, honestly. So yeah, but the Bills, they beat the Chiefs pretty good last year in the regular season, but it's all about the playoffs, man. They couldn't beat them in the AFC Championship game, and like, what's to say they're going to do that again? I mean, honestly, are they ever going to do it? Probably not, but we'll see what happens. But more than likely, they're going to win the regular season game and then screw it up in the playoffs. I mean, that's just kind of the norm right now. But and then the Sunday Night Football matchup, which is nowhere near as exciting as the Chiefs-Bills matchup, is the Seahawks at the Commanders. And that'll be the NBC Sunday Night Football matchup. And then finally, on Monday, November the 3rd, will be the Arizona Cardinals at the Dallas Cowboys, which, believe it or not, has been more in favor of the Cardinals as of late. I mean, they have done a pretty good job of beating the Cowboys in that game, but that'll be the Monday Night Football matchup on November the 3rd. So there we go. That is Week 9. Let's go on to Week number 10. The first Thursday of November gives us the Las Vegas Raiders at the Denver Broncos. That'll be a Prime Video game, of course. Then we head back overseas with the game I believe is going to be in Munich. The Falcons at the Colts. That'll be the 9:30 game on NFL Network. And then the 1 o'clock window, we have 7 games, including the Saints and the Panthers on Fox, the Giants at the Bears on Fox, the Jaguars at the Texans on CBS, the Bills at the Dolphins on CBS, the Raiders at the Vikings on Fox, the Browns at the Jets on CBS, the Patriots and the Buccaneers on CBS. And then the 4:05 window game, the Cardinals at the Seahawks, that's the CBS game, and then Fox has the 4:25 doubleheader with the Los Angeles Rams at the 49ers and the Lions at the Commanders. So we have an NFC divisional show rematch in the late window. And then the Najee Harris Revenge Bowl is the Sunday Night Football matchup this week. The Steelers at the Chargers. The Steelers heading back out to L.A. Last time they were there on a Sunday night, it did not go well. They got completely embarrassed by Justin Herbert and the Chargers when Brandon Staley was still the coach. And who knows what chaos Jim Harbaugh has in store for Mike Tomlin this time around. But then we got the Monday Night Football matchup. A good matchup overall. The Philadelphia Eagles at the Green Bay Packers. Keep in mind, the Green Bay Packers were the team that tried to get the Tuck Rule banned, and the NFL won't do it because why are you gonna take the fun out of the game? Because nobody can fucking stop it, and because nobody can stop it, nobody can stop the Eagles. It's just like you're playing favorites with the Philadelphia Eagles. I get it. Jason Kelce is your new go-to guy, but it's just like, come on. But anyway, that's going to be the Monday Night Football matchup on November the 10th. Should be a good matchup overall regardless. So that is week number 10. On to week number 11. Starting off week 11, another AFC East showdown, this time between the New York Jets and the New England Patriots in Foxborough. And then this will be the Madrid-Spain game between the Washington Commanders and the Miami Dolphins. That's a 9:30 game on the NFL Network. 7 games once again in the 1 o'clock window. We've got the Panthers at the Falcons on Fox, the Buccaneers at the Bills on CBS, the Chargers at the Jaguars on CBS, the Bears at the Vikings on Fox, the Giants and the Packers and the Giants on Fox, the rematch between the Bengals and Steelers on CBS, the Texans at the Titans on Fox. Those are the 1 o'clock games. 2 games in the 4:05 and the 4:25 window. Fox has the 49ers at the Cardinals and the Seahawks at the Rams, while CBS has the Ravens at the Browns and the Chiefs at the Broncos. And the Sunday Night Football matchup this week will be the Detroit Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles. And then finally on November 17th, the Monday Night Football matchup will be the Dallas Cowboys at the Las Vegas Raiders. That'll be an 8:15 game on ESPN and ABC. Week 11, Week 12 next. Getting into the week before Thanksgiving, and we started off with the Buffalo Bills at the Houston Texans, a rematch of last year's crazy game where the Bills and Texans could have went to overtime, but Josh Allen had to play hero, and the Texans essentially won that game because, he kept throwing the ball. Josh Allen kept throwing the ball when he could have just went to overtime, but that'll be a rematch game on November the 20th on Amazon Prime Video. Sunday games, we have 7 in the opening window. Jets at the Ravens on CBS, Steelers at the Bears on CBS. The last couple times the Steelers have played in Chicago, it has not worked out well. In fact, I think the last time they won was actually 30 years ago, 1995, when they went to the Super Bowl. So, Steelers at the Bears, I'm not expecting much from that game per se. But New England at Cincinnati, that's a CBS game. The Giants at the Lions on Fox. The Vikings at the Packers on Fox as well. Colts at the Chiefs on CBS. Seahawks and Titans, that's a Fox game. And then 2 games in the 4:05 window on CBS. The Jaguars at the Cardinals and the Browns and the Raiders, followed by the Eagles at the Cowboys on Fox, and then the Falcons at the Saints also on Fox. And the Sunday Night Football matchup that day will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Los Angeles Rams on NBC. And then Monday Night Football, the Carolina Panthers at the San Francisco 49ers. So they must really believe that Bryce Young is on the hope for a rise this time around because they put him in the Monday Night Football window. So we'll see what they do there. But that's Week 12. Let's go ahead and see what Thanksgiving weekend has for us in store. So on Thanksgiving Day, we have the traditional matchup between the Detroit Lions and their divisional foes. This time it's the Green Bay Packers, who 2 years ago gave the Lions one of their biggest losses in that season that they had, that great season they had. And then what could possibly be one of the highest rated NFL games of all time, especially Thanksgiving games, the Kansas City Chiefs at the Dallas Cowboys. And then following it up, we have another Thursday Night Football rematch in Baltimore between the Bengals and the Ravens. The last two were on Amazon Prime Video. This time, it's going to be on NBC. But Amazon Prime will be back in the swing of things the next day when the Chicago Bears take on the Philadelphia Eagles in Philadelphia. That'll be the Black Friday game on November the 28th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then we get to the Sunday games, and we have, once again, looks like 7 games in the 1 o'clock window. I guess that's the standard for this year. But the Rams at the Panthers kick it off on Fox, followed by the 49ers at the Browns on CBS, the Texans at the Colts on CBS, the Saints and the Dolphins on Fox, the Falcons at the Jets on Fox, the Cardinals and the Buccaneers on Fox as well, and then the Jaguars at the Titans on CBS. And then Fox has 1 game in the 4:05 window, the Vikings at the Seahawks, and then 2 games in the 4:25 window on CBS with the Raiders and the Chargers. And then another game that I would have thought would have possibly been a Sunday night game. But the Buffalo Bills at the Pittsburgh Steelers is a 4:25 game on CBS. So that's a big one coming up. And then Sunday Night Football, the Denver Broncos at the Washington Commanders. Bo Nix versus Jaden Daniels at 8:20. And then kicking off December, a Super Bowl rematch from nearly almost 20 years ago. The Giants at the Patriots. The New York Giants take on New England in Foxborough. That'll be a Monday Night Football game at 8:15 exclusively on ESPN. on December the 1st. So that is the month of November. We started in December. Let's continue into December with week number 14. And just like in years past, the Dallas Cowboys will play back-to-back Thursday night football games with the Cowboys and the Lions is on December 4th in Ford Field on Amazon Prime Video. And then in the 1 o'clock window, where we do have 8 games this time around. So I guess it's not just 7 games for the norm. But Seattle at Atlanta on Fox, Pittsburgh at Baltimore on CBS, the Titans at the Browns on Fox, the Bears at the Packers on Fox, the Colts and the Jaguars on CBS, the Commanders and the Vikings on Fox, Dolphins and Jets on CBS, and the Saints and the Buccaneers on CBS. Then the 4:05 game for CBS, the Broncos at the Raiders, and then 2 4:25 matchups on Fox, the Rams at the Cardinals, and the Bengals at the Bills. And then Sunday Night Football will be the Houston Texans at the Kansas City Chiefs. Of course, a rematch of last year's AFC divisional game. And then Monday, December the 8th, we have the Philadelphia Eagles at the Los Angeles Chargers. That'll be the Monday Night Football matchup in LA on ESPN and ABC. So week 14 is not done. Now we move on to week 15. Starting it off, we have one of the more fun matchups from last year. This time in Tampa Bay, the Falcons at the Buccaneers. Michael Penix Jr. taking on Baker Mayfield for what was a very fun game in Prime Videos on Amazon last year. Of course, went to overtime, and Atlanta ended up winning that game, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, yeah, Atlanta won that game, but of course Tampa Bay had the last lap because they won the division. But this time it'll be in Tampa Bay. That'll be the December 11th game on Amazon Prime Video. And 8 games once again on the 1 o'clock window for December 14th. Browns at the Bears on Fox. Ravens at the Bengals on CBS. The Cardinals and the Texans on Fox. Jets at the Jaguars on CBS. The Chargers at the Chiefs on CBS. Bills at the Patriots on CBS. Commanders at Giants on Fox. Raiders at the Eagles also on Fox. And then all 5 games in the 4:25 window. No 4 or 5 games this time around for this week, but we have the Packers and the Broncos on CBS, the Lions at the Rams on Fox, Panthers at the Saints on Fox, Colts at the Seahawks on CBS, Titans at the 49ers on Fox, and then the Sunday Night Football Showdown. I keep doing that. The Sunday Night Football Showdown will be the Minnesota Vikings at the Dallas Cowboys on NBC. Now, here's the interesting matchup that I was not expecting for the Monday Night Football matchup, especially this late in the season. The Miami Dolphins at the Pittsburgh Steelers at 8:15 on ESPN, which is very, very odd when you really think about it, because the Dolphins are notoriously known for playing bad in cold weather, and this is going to be right in the middle of December. So either the Steelers are going to be easily beating them, or something is going to happen where the Dolphins end up winning this game. I just feel like one of two things is going to happen in this one, but yeah, that's the Monday Night Football matchup. The Dolphins and the Steelers, late in December, too. So that's very, very interesting why they scheduled it there. But that's Week 15. I'll do Week 16. In Week 16, we kick it off with another NFC West showdown, this time with the Rams at the Seahawks on Prime Video. It says on here Friday, December 19th for the 2 games they have for the game before Christmas, but I think that's supposed to be December the 20th. Of course, we have the Packers at the Bears and the Eagles at the Commanders, and I believe both of those games will be on Fox, if I'm not mistaken. In terms of the 1 o'clock games, 7 on this one, starting off with the Patriots at the Ravens, the Buccaneers at the Panthers, the Bills at the Browns, the Chargers at the Cowboys, the Jets at the Saints, the Vikings at the Giants, the Chiefs at the Titans, and 4 or 5 games. We have the Falcons at the Cardinals on Fox, Jaguars at Broncos also on Fox, then the Steelers at the Lions on CBS, and then the Raiders at the Texans at CBS. Both of those games are 4:25 matchups. And then the Dolphins are back in primetime again shortly after their Monday night visit to Pittsburgh. They'll host the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football at 8:20, and that's followed by the 49ers at the Colts on Monday Night Football on December the 22nd. So those are the games for the week before Christmas. Now let's get to Christmas weekend. Starting it off with your Christmas Day triple header, we have the Cowboys and the Commanders, a Netflix game at 1 o'clock, followed by the Detroit Lions at the Minnesota Vikings. That's a 4:30 game on Netflix. And then Amazon Prime Video will have a Christmas Day game with the Broncos at the Chiefs at 8:15. And then we go to December 28th, where we have, 5 only 5 matchups on Sunday, but then again, there are games that have not been scheduled yet. But but we'll get to those in just a second. But the 5 games we know are going to be in the 1 o'clock window: Steelers at the Browns on CBS, Jaguars at the Colts on Fox, Buccaneers at the Dolphins on Fox, Patriots at the Jets on CBS, and the Saints and the Titans on CBS. We know that the Eagles and Bills will play a 4:25 game on Fox, and then the Chicago Bears and the San Francisco 49ers will play on Sunday Night Football on the Sunday after Christmas. And then Monday Night Football will be the Rams at the Falcons. Now, there are 5 games that have yet to be listed here, so they'll probably finagle this around. But we do know that that Peacock will host one of these games that I have here. Seahawks at the Panthers, Cardinals at the Bengals, Ravens at the Packers, the Texans at the Chargers, and the Giants at the Raiders. If I'm putting some money down right now, Raiders and Packers probably is the big marquee matchup for Saturday, December 27th. I think that's going to be the one that's going to be a primetime matchup. Or the Texans and the Chargers. Could be one of those two, but Week 17, that's that game. So that's that. So let's go ahead and move on to Week 18, the final game of the weeks of the regular season. And of course, all of these games will be to be determined. So we're going to probably have some games on Saturday, probably games that will have little to no playoff implications, but or maybe might be playoff implication games. But Saints at the Falcons, Jets at the Bills, Lions and the Bears, Browns at the Bengals, Chargers at the Broncos, Colts at the Texans, Titans at the Jaguars, Cardinals at the Rams, Chiefs at the Raiders, Packers at the Vikings, Dolphins at the Patriots, Cowboys at the Giants, Commanders at the Eagles, Ravens at the Steelers, Seahawks at the 49ers, and the Panthers at the Buccaneers. So, like I said, those games have yet to be determined of where they're going to be played. It's going to depend on where everybody is in the playoff standings. But more than likely, we're getting 2 games on Saturday and then every game on Sunday with 1 game on Sunday Night Football on NBC. So there you go. That's all of the regular season games. But now it's time for the reason why you're here. I'm here to present to you the games that I will be doing a live rewatch of during the season for the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch. So let's get right to it. I've got my little card right here. This is like the commissioner at the NFL draft. I need like the ding 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 to be playing in the background. I'm sure I can find it and put it in here. But anyway. The first game of the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch will be the Baltimore Ravens at the Buffalo Bills on September the 7th. Really, no surprise there. It's the kickoff game for Sunday Night Football. It should be a good matchup overall. An AFC divisional showdown between the AFC rematch of the AFC divisional round. But, yeah, it should be an interesting game overall. So that's going to be... It should be a really good matchup between the Ravens and the Bills. Ravens season ended in Buffalo. Going to be rocking this actually is the last year for Highmark Stadium before they move into their new stadium, which is currently in construction right now. But it won't be the last time we see the Bills this season, and I will give you a little bit of spoiler there of where we're going to go next. But anyway, moving on to game number 2. The second game of the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch inaugural season is the Detroit Lions at the Kansas City Chiefs on October the 12th. Of course, like I said before, it's a rematch between the two teams from the 2023 season opener. It's going to be very interesting to see what the Lions are like without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn as the coaches. And last time the Lions were in Kansas City, they beat the crap out of them pretty good and beat them in their home opener, which probably not going to have the same result, but hey, could be very interesting to watch overall. So that's the Lions and the Chiefs, game number 2. On to game number 3. With the third game selected in the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch inaugural season, it is the Aaron Rodgers Bowl, the Green Bay Packers and the Pittsburgh Steelers on October the 26th. I mean, why not throw in a Steelers game? I'm not confident in them this year, and we don't even know if Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback, but, I mean, Green Bay and Pittsburgh, last time they played on a Sunday night in Pittsburgh, it was a really good matchup overall. I mean, Steelers almost lost that game to Aaron Rodgers' backup quarterback. So there you go. That could be very interesting to watch. And like I said, it's the Aaron Rodgers revenge game. It's an Aaron Rodgers Bowl. We'll see what happens on that one. That's going to be October the 26th. Green Bay at Pittsburgh. The fourth game of the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch, and this is the only game not a Sunday Night Football matchup. And I think you can kind of tell what I'm going here. The Kansas City Chiefs at the Buffalo Bills. Yes, we're going to do a late afternoon game on Sunday, November the 2nd, Chiefs at the Bills. Of course, this game has been one of the more fun games to watch in the regular season and the postseason. And like I said, the Bills will more than likely win this one. But can Kansas City find a way to beat the Bills? Or, if we're going, let's go into the postseason. Can the Bills finally get past the Chiefs in the postseason? That's going to be the biggest task for them to handle. And they probably will play very well in this game, but we're going to cover that game. That'll be the Sunday 4:25 game. The only game on here that's not a primetime game. So that's November the 2nd. Of course, I'm going to cover the Chiefs and the Bills. The fifth game of the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch inaugural season is the Najee Harris Revenge Bowl. The Steelers at the Chargers. As I said, the last time these two teams met in primetime on NBC, it was not a pretty matchup for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I mean, this was Ben Roethlisberger's last season, and the Steelers tried to come back in the fourth quarter, but it was already too little too late. Of course, very curious to see how the Steelers do in the West Coast. The last couple times they've been there, they've actually done pretty well, but can they get that monkey off their back and get the revenge over that game 3 years ago? And how good will Najee Harris be in that game? Facing off against his former team. The Steelers and Chargers will be the Sunday Night Football game we'll take a look at on November the 9th. The sixth game of the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch inaugural season will be the Detroit Lions at the Philadelphia Eagles on November 16th. Two NFC powerhouses. Of course, the Philadelphia Eagles just won the Super Bowl. The Lions, of course, are going out there for the first time without Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn as the coordinators. So it'll be the second time we'll see the Lions this year, and we'll see the Eagles, see if they can have that title defense this year. That'll be on November the 16th, and we have one more game here, and not really much of a surprise for this last one. The seventh and final game of the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL inaugural season will be, Sunday Night NFL Live Rewatch inaugural season will be the Week 18 finale. Whatever the Week 18 game that wraps up the entire season, playoff implications on the line, we're going to be covering it for you. That game will be on January, let me see if I can hold this, I forgot the date. Let's see. Come on. Load. Sunday, January 5th. I did not put the date on here, but last game of the regular season, playoff implications on the line. Of course, we're going to be covering that. So there you go. That's the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Live Rewatch inaugural season schedule. Ravens at the Bills on September the 7th. Lions at the Chiefs on October the 12th. The Packers at the Steelers on October 26th. The Chiefs and the Bills on November the 2nd. Steelers at the Chargers on November the 9th. The Lions and the Eagles on the 16th. And then the Week 18 finale on January 5th. So there you go. That's the schedule. That's the inaugural Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch inaugural schedule as well. So, yeah. That's it. So thank you very much for joining us for this very special edition of the Reviewing Network Live Sunday Night NFL Rewatch schedule special. And I will see you guys in the fall for these big matchups. So thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, check out some of the other NFL Network episodes we did before. And with all that said, I'll see you guys next time. So until then, take care.